ZANU PF has fired the founding member of Varakashi, and I'll explain in detail what has caused this firing. As you are aware, on Monday, the president had a meeting with editors and unequivocally reiterated that he is not seeking the third term, he is allowing the constitution to run as it is. Now, why did this meeting happen? According to the discussions that I had with sources from inside. Number one, the president realized that the issue of 2030 was going to turn the country into chaos. One, fight from the other side and fight from the other faction. He admits and agrees that there are two factions that are inside the party, and these fights, one, they are going to turn Zimbabwe into an election mode. And when people get into election mode, they won't achieve anything. So now what has happened to the Varakashi for ED, when you look at the founder, who is John Zumsara, who had to come from Canada and come back to Zimbabwe and be that person who pushes for ED and, does this whole Urakashi things. Now, these guys, Vana John Zumsara, Vana Christine Charumbira, Vana Mfetane, Vana Gakanje, who have been fired accordingly, they failed to read the room. After the meeting on Monday with editors, President Idi Mnangagwa has realized that if we're going to push this, it's going to turn the country into chaos. Rather, let's shelf it and see until 2027, when there is now time for people to elect a new leader. He wants to shelve it, and the presentation that he has given to the Chiwenga faction is he's not going to step down now, but this issue of 2030 agenda, and it's not going to be something that is going to be discussed. It's an issue that he is going to stick by what they agreed or what the constitution says. So now what is happening is the guys who are doing Urakashi, they don't have anything to do now, because they were caught up in this euphoria because it was something that was going to give them jobs. It was something that was going to give them revenue, especially when you're looking at the issue of the referendum, because there were going to be two referendums that were going to be held. And in these two referendums, these guys were now going to cash in on the provisions of trying to do the PR for the 2030 and everything that needs to be done for the internet community. So they have assigned Patrick Chinamasa, George Charamba to handle the Varakashi and push these things. But now look at what has happened now with Gakanje, who has been one of the vocal Varakashi. He has now written a letter insulting Patrick Chinamasa and in turn insulting the president, because he has said that we can't be led by someone who is 80 years old and somebody who has run the country down. Now, you must understand that Patrick Chinamasa was one of the people who were first to move with the president just after he assumed office, when he did the did a tour to South Africa. First time when after just assuming office, he came to South Africa with a contingent, and the person who was with him was Patrick Chinamasa. Now, this means that insulting Patrick Chinamasa will be a fatal blow to these Varakashi guys, because at the end of the day, Patrick Chinamasa and ED come a long way. So this is what is happening, people. There is chaos in the Varakashi cockpit, and it is mainly caused by the fact that they are trying to they created a story for George Charamba and said that George Charamba raped his niece, and they also created another story in order to just get George Charamba fired. But you saw George Charamba was one who was with the president on that particular day when editors were there, including Dr. Mtambuzi. So these people, President ED believes that they can do the job and they can be able to calm the situation, as they are people who understand ED better than the team, the Mafiki Zolos, who are calling themselves Varakashi. Now, tell me what you think, what is going to be the end of this, because some of them, they're going to lose jobs. Some of them, they'd invested in this 2030, and now they seem to be let out because the president has changed his mind, looking at the consequences of trying to push hard on the 2030 agenda. But tell me what you think about this situation. What does it mean to all of you Zimbabweans? Well, what does it mean to the issue that is at hand now, which is the topical issue of Blessed Geza? I'll see you on the next one, and it's bye for now.